Hello friends, in the series which we are doing on understanding popular culture, we will again talk about the impact of the social media. In the earlier lecture where we talked about the impact of social media, we talked about the positive aspects of the social media as well as some of the flip sides of the social media as well. We talked about how during the times of the pandemic the teaching learning processes they continued because of the various groups which are famed on the Facebook as well as the WhatsApp channels, and how this kind of a teaching learning also went through the Facebook and the various kinds of learning platforms which were created by the various companies. And we also see that the social media not only played a positive role in that sense, but at the same time the way it has entered the lives of people and how people they are trying to connect with the social media, where now they are not connected, many times they are not connected with the real world. They are not spending time with their family, their friends in face-to-face interaction. Rather their interaction is comparatively online. So this is some sort of a flip side of the social media, where people may also have some kind of health problems as well, and many times we find that they may go in some sort of a depression as well. And when one is talking about such kind of impacts of the social media, that how people they are connected to the social media at all times of day and sometimes even night. So this is not only taking a toll of their time as well, but at the same time we find that they are also away from the reality. Some of the other aspects which have been talked about are that how without the social media the social, ethical, environment and the political ills would have minimal visibility. People would not come to know that what sorts of problems they are there in the society, because they are being shared on the social media at a continuous level. And there is an increased visibility of these kinds of issues has shifted the balance of power from the hands of a few to the hands of the masses. And that is how we see that on the social media so many videos, so many informations and messages they come to us highlighting some or the other important aspect, and many a times we become aware about those kinds of issues only through the social media. But on the other hand, many a times we do not even know whether such kinds of messages or videos they are authentic or not. The kind of information which they are providing is authentic or it is fake. So it has both the sides. One has to also cross check the kind of information which is being provided on the social media. And many times we find that social media is also killing the real activism of the people, those who are not engaging themselves in some sort of a real activism, and replacing it with slacktivism. Slacktivism means that when one is trying to engage with some kind of social issues on an online platform, either through the signing of certain petitions online. So all these kinds of things they come under the slacktivism. And we also see that how social media activism it brings an increased awareness about the societal issues, and the questions they remain as to whether this awareness is translating into some kind of a real change. So this kind of an activism, we talked about slacktivism, and how this kind of a social media activism where people they are becoming more aware about the various problems or issues which are there in the society. But one has also to see whether this kind of an awareness or this kind of an activism is really going into bringing about any kind of a real change or not. So we find that how social sharing which is there in the social media, it has encouraged people to use the computers and the mobile phones, and how they are trying to express their concerns on the social issues, and they are sometimes not even actively engaged with these kind of issues in the real life. So in that sense their support is limited to pressing the like button or sharing the content. So many a times we also find that the role of the social media is in the context of the way they play an important role in the lives of the teenagers, and we find that the issue of cyberbullying is also very rampant, and Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, all of them, where the teenagers, they are subjected to feeling pressure, some kind of a pressure to grow up too fast in an online world, because they are connected with that kind of technology, and when they are connected with the technology, then they have all sorts of access to all sorts of material. So even when they don't have to resort to some kind of a material which is not according to their age, but they are exposed to such kind of material, and at the same time they also feel pressured, some kind of a pressure that they also have to have some kind of a knowledge about all those kinds of issues. So from that perspective, we find that youngsters can misuse the social media platforms to spread some kind of rumors or share videos which are aimed at destroying the reputations, or to in a way blackmail others as well. So all these kinds of things, they also happen on the social media platforms. And we also find that on the social media platforms, some kind of issues which are connected to stalking, identity theft, personal attacks, and the misuse of information. They are some of the kind of threats which are faced by the social media users. And when we see the situation, we find that users themselves, they are to be blamed as well, because they are sharing the content that should not be in the public eye. So how the questions of the lack of privacy, they are there in this context, because a lot of information which has been shared on the social media channels, and how this information is being used by others to infringe upon the privacy of the people concerned. And some kind of confusions can also be seen or arise from a lack of understanding of how private and public elements of an online profile actually work. And unfortunately, by time private content is deleted, it's usually too late, and content can cause problems in people's personal and the professional lives. So many a times we see that the personal information, personal content, many times when it is put on social media, and by the time it is being realized by the person concerned and it is being deleted, the content has already been shared by others. So now it is in the public domain, and this may many a times create problems in the life of the people at different levels. And we also find that how people, they are in a way engaging in social media friendships as well, and the actual friendships of the earlier times, they are taking some sort of a back seat, because people, they do not have that kind of a time to engage with their own friends, and their social media friendships are not face to face, and whenever they find time, then they engage with those kinds of friends. And the way the term friend, it is being used on the social media, is a weak shadow of a traditional friendship, and the real friends, the way they know each other and how they interact with each other, how they have some kind of a personal bond with each other, that is absent on the social media platforms. We also find that how so the people, they get their news on through the social media, and many a times before the media houses get such kind of news, they are available on the social platforms, because the social platforms, they provide that kind of a access, or the easiest access to the political and the other news. So in this way, we find that before the news becomes some sort of an official news, as you can see on the screen as well, that in the sphere of the politics, that how many a times all sorts of news which are related to politics or maybe other spheres, and how the social media channel gets some kind of an access to that kind of a news, and this news is basically put in the public domain, and before it reaches the news channels, etc. So we also find that how people, they air out their political grievances on the political leaders, and they demand certain actions which are to be taken on the social media platforms. And it is also a medium where the mass political rallies, they are being formed campaigns are carried out, and political unrest is also felt. And we also have, nowadays we have the media cells of the various political parties, and these media cells of the political parties, they are churning out messages in thousands, and these messages, they are being shared on the social media, and we, all of us, have this kind of an access to these kinds of messages, and many times we are not even sure that the kind of messages which we have received are authentic, or they contain the wrong information. We also find that how social media has also ventured into other areas, how in terms of job hiring, where companies make their hiring decisions based on one's social portfolio, and recruiters, they are also using the online networks to post job vacancies through which they get their candidates. So we find that not only the jobs they are being online posted, but at the same time we also find that the companies, those who are hiring people, they are also looking at the social portfolio of the candidates as well. So in that sense, we find that many times it becomes easier for the job seekers to get easy access to the jobs, and this is evident on the platforms like LinkedIn, where job seekers can create their own profile containing their skills and see what job opportunities recruiters are posting. So such kind of platforms are useful for the people, those who are trying to shift jobs, or they are trying to get some kind of a job in some company as well. So in this way they are helpful in that sense. Some of the social media platforms are helpful in that sense. We also find that how many professionals and many professions and skills, they have been built around, and they learn through the social media. And as I told you earlier, the increase in the online teaching during the times of pandemic, and even when the schools have opened and the universities are open, this idea of online teaching has not stopped, and people are still continuing in the online learning and teaching processes. And we also can see that how because of the online learning, people can learn some kind of new skills through the online learning, and they build some sort of they can also build some sort of a strong profession around it. So we find that the existence of the social media has led to an increase in the number of people undertaking the distance learning, as well as the academic offerings such as the writing services. So from that point of view, definitely social media in a way is providing all sorts of facilities to connect with each other, that how people, they are able to connect with each other. And at the same time, we find that there are so many countless users of the social media everywhere, and the information, as I told you, from numerous to numerous communication, where the information could be spread globally through the social media and its connectedness, making it simple for the people to interact with one another, and it also results in some sorts of global relationships as well. We find that how learners and educators, they enroll in some sort of a global collaborative programs or platforms to facilitate constructive learning, and some kind of aids in skill improvement by fostering knowledge and creativity. So from that point of view also, the social media definitely plays an important role, as I told you earlier as well, that how certain skills they can be acquired, and how by fostering the knowledge as well as the creativity. And we also find that how we are also informed about certain things, the kind of happenings which are happening across the world, across the globe, and what all is happening in the lives of the people through the social media. And when you try to compare it with television, radio, newspaper, then social media lets everyone convey information accurately by presenting the real picture. It aids in showcasing the real world news across globe. So we find that how social media, when it is trying to give you information through certain making of certain videos, etc., then it is providing you the actual event of, in that sense, if it is recorded in a real time, and when it is recorded as it was happening or unfolding. Not it is some sort of a made event, or maybe some kind of a made video which may provide some kind of a wrong information as well. So we find that how people they are in a way more conscious to the about these developments in the context of the social media, and it serves as a channel for information, thus paving way to innovation and success via developing their knowledge as well as abilities. So social media well covers the global events, making people more aware of their surroundings. So this kind of an awareness which comes among the people, where social media definitely is playing an important role. And how many times we see that people, those who are not able to in a way share anything with the others, they share their ideas, a song or a poem or what they have written on the social media platforms. And how some of the people, those who are engaged in maybe taking photographs or maybe singing a song, etc., or maybe a painting for that matter, and how they share the kind of work which they have done. So in this way their creativity can be made known to others through these kinds of channels, and thereafter it can be shared by the millions of others. So sharing of this artistic work of others, it also could open doors for the achievements as well. So in this way we find that how the social media, where people live in some sort of a diverse world, where individuals from different cultures, beliefs and background, they exist there, and how these people, they come together where they can be linked on a common platform. So some kind of a unity may come, and it may facilitate the development of community links. Food lovers can join the community of food bloggers. Similar is the case of the other creative fields as well, where the people, those who are interested in different kinds of crafts, artworks or other activities, they can come together, they can form a group, they can share a lot of information regarding what all is happening in their particular sphere. So in that sense we find that many a times the people, those who are engaged in some kind of charitable activities, etc., which are in a way considered to be some kind of a noble or higher deeds, and how they are made known to others, and it is some sort of ideal tool for endorsing causes like giving donations to those with cancer, for example, the people, those who need money, and how such kind of cases, they are also being promoted on social media channels, where people can assist others in terms of finance. So it is some sort of a simplest and the fastest way to advance any kind of a worthwhile cause as well. We also see that how many a time social media can play an important role in terms of stress reliever. The several groups, they can support people, those who are battling against various kinds of depression or stress or loneliness. So by creating a feeling of elation, these communities can bestow brighter attitude, while others were also helping develop healthy relationships with others. So in a way the mental health can also be enhanced, but at the same time we also see that if one engages too much in the social media, then it can also affect the mental health in a negative manner as well. And we find that how many times the company relationships, they are also in a way highlighted by fostering the goodwill among the users, and the way they are being promoted also increases the sales, which in turn increases the profitability. And the comments and the feedback which are left by the customers are some sort of a resource for the businesses. And we find that how many a times companies, they increase their businesses by engaging in the social media, and how others, they also become aware about the kinds of brands which are existing. The networking platforms, they contribute to greater brand recognition, and the visually appealing products and information, they capture the user's attention, which increases the brand visibility and raises customer knowledge about certain goods and services. So in that way we find that the recognition or awareness about the brand increases about the from how when they are connected with the social media. And many a times we found that the appealing products and the kind of information which is being provided, it captures the attention of the people, those who are watching it, and because of which the visibility of the brand also increases, and the customer knowledge about the certain goods and services is also there. So we find that how social media enhances the customer engagement by providing the goods and services, and at the same time soliciting comments on them. So users from across communities, they leave various kinds of feedbacks and suggestions which can assist in improving areas of focus and satisfy them. So we find that how businesses they relate with their consumers or customers, and at the same time they are also seeking some sorts of feedback so that they can make an improvement in their business ventures, and how they can in a way provide more satisfaction to their consumers. And so in that way we find that all sorts of commerce, marketing, businesses, they have this kind of a mileage where they can be shown to the others, their brand visibility will increase, and various kinds of posts and the promotions will be able to connect them to the various kinds of customers. And in the long run it will not only build some kind of a relationship with the customer, but at the same time they will be able to earn customer loyalty as well, which will be very important for the expansion of the company. We also see that many a times some social media, it may hamper the emotional bonds as well, because everything is conveyed to the others through the text digitally, which can stunt the expressions. So in that way we find that ingenuity is lost when people who would ideally visit one another to convey greetings only send text messages instead of hugs. So that way the personal interaction which was there in the earlier times, because of which the emotional bonds were created, people were ready to visit each other and at the same time felt some kind of emotional bond with each other. So now that is also missing from because of the fact that now people are sending messages, and once they send them, they are not concerned with that person, they are not in a way related to that person, because they feel that their work has been done, they have expressed their ideas in a very in a sentence or a two. So such kind of things they also happen, and because of which we find that this kind of face-to-face interaction is decreasing, and the sense of enjoyment and fun which was there in the earlier times, that is also missing, because people are more concerned or connected to their gadgets. And many a times we also see that the way people they write on the social media platform, how many a times it also hurts others, because the people they feel they have been trolled, or how negative comments they are also being written. So this may cause some kind of a distress to the people, those who are the victims of such kind of a troll or negative comments, and which may create some kind of a problems in their lives, which may cause some kind of a distress to them. And if it continues for a very considerable period of time, then it may cause some kind of a depression as well. So we find that when one is being connected in the social media, and when one is trying to convey the feelings in words, etc., then it is not always very easy, because the people may not be able to express themselves, and when they are with the person concerned, then they may be able to express themselves in a far better manner. And the writing of the messages through text may appear to be more some kind of a formality. So we find that many a times the text which is written, it is also masking the real feeling as well. And Social media in a way is also trying to in a way disrupt the relationships, because the families are not spending time with each other, and people are in a way connected to their gadgets. And as we earlier talked about, that how many a times the vulnerability of social media is exposed at different levels, that how the privacy or of a person or the personal data of a person is being hacked by certain people. And so you have to constantly see or check the profile whether your profile has not been hacked, and if it is being hacked, then your privacy is being compromised. So this way one has to also see that one has to live in a real world and not to live in the world which is a superficial world, or world which has been created in gadgets. So we also find that when one is connected to these kinds of gadgets, then one also is not active in that sense, and one may turn to be an obese, one may develop some kinds of health issues like high blood pressure, etc. Stress may also come when one is not actively engaged and one is only engaged in the social media platform. So this kind of lack of physical activity may also create some kind of a laziness among the people. And when people they are too much engaged, then such kind of an overuse may also create some kind of an addictiveness among them. We also find that people have to realize in that way that the way reality is and the way online situation is, they are not same, they are totally different, and how the people, those who are connected to them as friends and family, they are able to give time to them, and they will be the people those who will actually provide time to them during the times of distress, and the online world will not come actually when they actually need them. So with this I'd like to end the discussion. Thank you very much.